you guys are good to go.
Oh, good, all right. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Supervisor Moore,
Present.
Councilwoman McNamara,
Present.
Councilman Silly, Councilman Pell,
Present.
Councilman Martell.
Present.
Thank you. All right, we're going to have the meeting of the Hampton Bays Water District Commissioners. Why don't you all come forward? It's James Cappers, Water District Superintendent, Keith Tuttle Jr., Assistant Water District Superintendent, John Collins, Lead Engineer from H2M, and Chris Weber, Engineer H2M. Welcome back.
I know how you feel.
I have Osgood Schlatter's disease. I don't know if you heard of that. And
He's got like 4 kneecaps.
oh yeah, it just sends like a lightning bolt right up. Osgood Schlatter's disease. It's actually a technical term.
Still growing there?
I got it when I was like 14. And I just never got it removed. And probably should have, but yeah, it hurts.
Stable.
Doesn't mean it's on the table.
Okay. All right, so let's get started. Let me just grab that agenda. So who wants to talk to us about pumpage?
I'll start off again, like I always do. Which is our bread and butter, like I always say, what we do, what we're in line to do. So far this year, from January to September, in regards to the difference from last year, just doing billed consumption, not overall water district consumption, but billed consumption is up, as we showed in trends over the previous years, 2.1%. Our billed consumption at this time last year was just over 95 million, and this year we're at 97 million. That's cubic feet. So you times that number by 7.86, that'll give you how many gallons we pumped already.
7.48.
7.48, yeah, sorry. And that'll give us the gallons that we pump, but as you can see, we're just on that trend going back from 2020. We're just on that 2% increase every year, so it's imperative that we'll talk about it, is get that new well in eventually, hopefully. And then let's talk about on the money side, we're up about 8% from last year. We were 2.1 at this time, now we're 2.3. Mainly because of our tiered billing, our meters are starting to get changed out, becoming more accurate, billing a little bit more, and trying to hone in on water conservation, try to have these customers ask questions of why their bill's so high, and then we explain to them. Because we have tiered billing, your sprinklers are on more, this is why you're gonna get, so.
How many tiers are there?
There's 3 total billings. So there's your initial billing, which is up to 700 cubic feet, and then there's a second tier, and then there's a third tier. So there's actually 3 separate blocks of billing.
What does it take to get to the third tier?
I think if you're over 13,000 cubic feet of usage, you get.
What is the percentage of people over that?
Summertime, probably 85%.
Whoa.
That's about 4 like 20 by 40 pools too. You know, even filled and drained,
Yeah.
right around that number.
Yeah, so it's a lot.
I thought
you
it
know.
was a few people. I
A
can't
pool's
believe
about
that.
4,000 cubic
Would
feet
it
of
be
water,
worth
so if
adding
someone
a
uses 13,000,
higher
you know, it's like
tier
3.2,
Well,
you know what I mean?
I
Pool's
battled
filled
that,
and drained.
but
That's a lot of water. you
what I'm
know?
hoping to get to in the next hopefully in the next 2 years is the remote reading of the meters. And what this will do, if we can have it report back to the office, we can actually detect overnight spike usage hour by hour. And it'll report back and then print out a report of who's using that amount of water. You know, we can even tell if we implement a odd and even watering and then we wanted to enforce it, we can actually have proof of when this person was watering, you know, and how much they use. So then we can then take that block of people and put them in their own group and say, all right, listen, we have proof that you're using the water. We're gonna put you in a fourth tier now. Whether you try to conserve your water or you're gonna get this bill, or whether the town starts to enforce it where they get fined for not complying with what we're saying. So that's gonna be the huge benefit of this meter replacement program once we complete it.
Have we ever gone to mandatory odd even, or we've always?
No, I mean, back in the day, I'd had to declare a water emergency, and then I can mandate, and then we can enforce and fine. But to call that state of emergency for trying to enforce odd and even watering days when we technically are still able to provide water and provide fire protection services, kind of like, overstepping a little bit in my eyes. But being able to actually show these people and actually, catch their usage hour by hour. Again, too, this would help with leaks. We can detect a leak daily now instead of every 3 months the person gets a high bill and says, well, how come you couldn't tell me a month ago? Well, we didn't read your cycle until now. So this is gonna help us catch leaks on customer side so they're not left with a $5,000 water bill because their water line was leaking. So,
Do you have any houses in your area which use the water for cooling?
water for cooling, like geothermal or?
Yeah, no, that's good.
No.
Do we have a place where you cannot do that? The county water authority did that now.
Yeah, we don't allow that to happen. Yeah, and I don't think the houses can be built big enough in the Hampton Bays unless they know somebody or something happens where they'll be able to do that.
No.
You never know, but no, yeah, I haven't got a question on that from any new developer regarding that, but we won't allow it, because just the water demand would just deplete
Yeah, 'cause I know
us.
especially Suffolk County, they
Yeah.
have very few, but they stopped it, they said no more.
Yeah, it's insane, unless they had their own, water reclamation or something to be able to do it.
You have to put a loop system in.
Yeah, it would be, they would need their own water district, basically their own well to provide for that. But just back to pumps, as you can tell, we're pumping a lot of water. It's just trending. We had a dry summer this year, very dry. It just seems the climate's just the way it is since 2020. It's been 2% increase every time. So we're working on water conservation. We're doing our best to get out there. We're sending letters home. We're knocking on doors. When people call up and say there's a huge puddle in front of this property, we contact them, email them, call them. I've walked many of properties in Hampton Bays trying to look for at their sprinkler system to try to find their problem, because a lot of people have these landscapers that come out, set their clock every day, twice a day sometimes, and they don't even know it. They're like, no, I'm not watering twice a day. I go there and I look at the timer and it's set for twice a day. So, those are the things that we try to bring awareness to customers. Like, if you have a problem or you have an issue or you have a question, call us, because I'll be more than happy to come there and look at it for you. Because I don't want you to have a high bill, but I also don't want you to not be able to take a shower, in the morning, because your sprinklers and 95% of your road is running at 6 o'clock in the morning, and that's the problem. And everybody doesn't get that. That's the issue. And they say, well, we pay for the water, we pay taxes on the water, we want to be able to use it, which is your prerogative. If you want to do that, that's on you. Like, I'm here to supply the water to you. What you do with it, I can't really dictate, to a point of what you do with it. But if you want to take a shower in the morning, just turn your sprinklers off, or change your time in which your sprinklers turn on. There's a huge benefit of running it. I know the fungus and landscapers tell you this and that, but do you want a little bit of fungus on your grass and be able to take a shower, or do you want perfectly
Believe it
green
or not,
grass?
overwatering creates fungal problems.
Yeah, so some people get it, some people don't. Some people want to comply and they get mad at their neighbor because they're not complying. And I'm
Yeah.
like, my hands are tied. I can only do so much. I can only send so much and call so much. Whether they do it, till it's enforceable and finable, that I can't really do too much. But
Yeah.
it seems like it's gotten a little bit better. The water conservation on the sprinkler side, because a lot of customers do want to save and they appreciate the resource that we do have. So.
Is this the first billing for the tier, or that started at the beginning of the year?
As far as,
The billing part of it for the 3 tiers, when did that start?
that was last year we implemented.
I guess I only hit it this year, because I just noticed it for the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's over, I'm pretty sure it's 15,000 cubic feet, and you're into that bumped up tier. Try to make you question, like, oh wow, why'd I get that? So, but in a nutshell, that's our pumpage.
Well, once we get the system in place where we can see what's happening in real time, then we could impose some kind of enforcement mechanism.
Yeah, because now you won't really need law enforcement to do that, you know,
Yeah.
now we would need law enforcement to drive around, or
Yeah, and that's
an
not-
employee to drive around at nighttime and be like, number 27, it's an even day, you're not supposed to be warning, so now you can actually get the printout of who's doing it, when they're doing it, and actually present it and say, listen, we can get two things we can do, we can enforce it, fine, tiered fine, and then go from there, but,
Will the new meters have like a shut-off? You'll have-
no, it can't have, they don't have an automatic shut-off, but they do have the capability of, like I said, this print, you can even do it by minute, but, you know, that data collection would be a lot, but, so, you know, by hour, we can set it, where it sets a spike over a certain amount, it will send a report to us, we print it out, and, you know, we can either go check and see if it's a leak or if they're using the water, so, that's where we're going
Idea
to.
of how much pumpage you did compared to capacity? Like how much, you have an increased possibility?
Yeah, I think our max capacity is just over 10 million, and we reached the 9 a couple of times, so.
We're back down now.
Yeah, we were averaging between
Hitting
7 and
around-
8.
Hitting
million.
6 right now, pretty much.
So, but that goes to show you, we pump barely $1 million in the wintertime and
It's all irrigation.
about 9.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's, yeah,
I mean, you got
24-hour
people- You got
period.
people with automatic pool fillers, you got, I mean,
True.
there's so many different things
Oh, yeah.
running in the summer.
Yeah, you know, lawn irrigation is probably about 80% of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the bits come so popular, and since 2020, obviously during COVID era, that's when, you know, the attention to detail on people's landscaping became, you know, prominent, because everybody was home and they wanted to do things, you know, so. It's just growing from there, from that point on, and being less transient, Hampton Bays is less transient now, a lot of permanent homes, and a lot of people still, you know, being permanent in Hampton Bays has become, and the development too in Hampton Bays has taken off more than people would have imagined. You know, reading some of the old paperwork back from the 30s, I was reading, because we were going through for lead and copper stuff, and they predicted just 1,000 homes in Hampton Bays back then. So, yeah, now we're over, I think it's like 15,000, so, yeah. A lot of things happened in almost 100 years, but, that's why we're here, and that's why we are trying to keep up with the demand, and, got a lot of stuff on the plate to happen in the next couple of years, so.
Okay, thank you. Who wants to tell us about the ongoing projects?
I guess we could take that.
You guys can take that.
Ongoing projects. Plant 3 is the treatment for perfluorinateds for 3 wells. That is currently with New York State Health Department. It's been there since May.
May.
And
We've confirmed they're reviewing it.
yeah, and they haven't given us any idea of when we're gonna get it back. So it looks like probably this winter. So in the meantime, we are going to bid a tree clearing contract, just because we have to clear those trees in between December 1st and
December 1st, February 28th, and
Yeah.
to meet the DEC
High
regulations.
variance regulations.
I thought it was the bat window.
That's, yeah.
Yep.
So who do you file that with?
We already did that, we just have to bid it now. We already got Pine
Oh,
Barrens Commission
okay.
approval. And now we just have to clear it in recommended period, or not recommended,
Yeah.
that.
Required.
Required period, yeah.
Yeah, because just not to cut you off, but we looked at the town contractor, the town actually has a contract with the tree clearing, it came in a little higher than
A little higher than expected.
expected, so we figured we'll bid it so we get the best price for it.
And also, if we bid it, we can package it with the
ESC.
ESC documentation, which allows us to go back with the grant that we have and put that work, even though it's not being performed at the same time as the project, we're allowed to put that back in with the grant. If we do it the other way, that's money spent that we can't get back from the grant.
So that's Plant 3, I don't know why I started at 3.
That's all right.
I'll go backwards. Plant 2, we are doing just a pump change out, and I believe we're working.
Yeah, I've got an email into Kathleen and Dorota just regarding some funds. We're trying to do the whole project, and we were short a little bit, but the overall bond resolution allowed us to have a certain amount of money, so I wanted to see if I could pull from one section just to fund this. We're like $9,000 short, so I'm just waiting for a
What?
reply on that.
How did that happen? I mean, we funded the request for this year was
No,
$1 million,
a
that
hundred-
one?
No, $100,000 from last year, for
Oh.
Plant 2 booster upgrades. That's the
Oh.
bond resolution last year was only for 600,000, 500 for meters and 100 for Plant 2.
Okay.
So that money that we're trying to spend this year, we're just trying to complete that project.
So it's a little short.
Yeah, a little short, but the overall, it's not, the bond wouldn't raise, the overall bond wouldn't raise. But, you know, we have two separate accounts, the meter replacement and the Plant 2 booster station upgrades. So I want to see if I can take from the meter replacement just to fund the $9,000. If it has to be a TBR, if it has to be, you know, public hearing, but the overall number is not going to raise up. So that's what I'm just waiting for, you know, confirmation from Kathy.
Okay.
There is a way that we can do it without getting the money. We want to do 2 pumps and 2 motors. We can do one this year and then do one next year, but I'm trying to get the whole project done and out of the way, so I'm not doing one at once.
Yeah, that makes sense, and I don't know why we couldn't take the 9,000 from the
Yeah,
meter
I just got it, you know, the
upgrades.
legal end, like, I'm sure Jim would know more about that, but, I know we had the issue with the SCADA system where we did something to that scenario, where we took the money from one. It then never raised the overall budget, but it, you know, just decreased one and raised one, so. Just waiting for that confirmation, and then we should be able to move on that fairly quickly.
Plant 1, nothing going on at Plant 1?
No, we're just looking probably to do which is in the budget for next year, is a GAC, either change out or react. Right now, the numbers do look good. I have the numbers from the latest results. All the compounds that are tested for right now that are eventually gonna be regulated, the 6 are non-detect out of the GAC, so, which is great. But this round, we're gonna do is a 25, 50, and 75% of each vessel. We have 2 vessels, A and B. So we wanna see the levels of, at each percentage, where that collection of the compounds are. If it's encroaching the 100%, you know, then we're gonna have to definitely do either a change out or react, but we wanna stay on top of it, because in 27, they're gonna drop the limit from 10 to 4. That's when the local Suffolk County Board of Health Services is gonna enforce that. So we wanna make sure we're non-detect across the board, so staying proactive and changing that, or reactivating that carbon before it even shows a detect is what we're doing. And we're on schedule, basically the 3-year, and when I say 3-year, it's 3 pumping seasons. If you remember, we just reactivated this, I think it was in 24. So we had 24 season, we have 25 season, and we plan on using it in 26, and then once it shuts down in 26, either doing a change out and react, so we're up and running for 27. So when I say years, it's actually pumping seasons, because our pumping season at Plant 1's very short. It's from like May to November. So because we don't like that, we have the nitrate, the chlorides and the nitrates and stuff there that we don't want to impede on the MCLs, and obviously the PFCs is what we're really worried about. Because those numbers are,
May through what?
was that?
You pump May through,
Like November, we shut down in November. And the numbers are the highest of the PFAS and PFO are there, so those, carbon gets clogged up very quickly there, being how high the numbers are. Even though the numbers now from 23 to 25 are a little bit lower, we're still pulling that stuff out of the aquifer, and we don't want it going into the system, so staying on top of that is our main priority.
Question, I didn't check on this. Is the fueling station, is that in the budget this year? It is? Okay.
Does that-
You heard that?
Yes, supervisor actually emailed and showed me what she was putting for her tentative budget for next year, so, and that was included.
yeah, I'll send that around, just so y'all know. I should have done it before today. But yeah, well, that's the next one, is that the 2026 projected
Yeah.
capital? That's the next project to talk about what's gonna happen next year.
Continue on projects, also at Plant 1, we're doing a SCADA, Supervisory Control
Acquisition.
Data Acquisition. It's their software that controls the plant sites, and it allows them to remotely operate wells and see it, and then it also allows them to receive alarms when they know something's wrong. We are upgrading that because it was 25 years old,
25 years, so one of the first ones ever in this.
So the new is, you know, upgraded PLCs and HMIs and all the abbreviated words, but it's gonna be a very, much greater enhanced security, cybersecurity. You know, the water industry is becoming a target for hackers, so we're just trying to stay ahead of that and, upgrade our cybersecurity on that. That's, now that the pumping season's over, we can then now start taking wells offline, so we can then go in and, because you have to take the whole plant site off.
So all the treatment or whatever that go into the well, that's all done like remotely through a software program? Like it's,
The treatment injection is done through, mechanics. It's not done, through computer software. That has to actually be,
the person going and?
yeah.
Okay.
But the biggest thing is, somebody can go in and kill all the wells in the middle of the night and, deplete our storage tanks or,
But I mean, is the goal though to get that management to a,
It's very dangerous to have your chemicals be
Right,
able to be controlled through SCADA, because
That's-
if you're hacked, they could
they can put
increase-
chemicals in your water?
Yeah.
overfeeds and,
Yeah. So our goal is to keep that people handling that.
yeah, boots on the
part.
ground, basically, so to speak,
Okay.
in the pump houses, controlling what's going in the water, not,
Yeah.
Glad to hear.
AI, like. person.
Because there's, you can have the best cybersecurity and it's open to,
When you overfeed chemicals, it could affect public health.
Yeah.
When you just stop pumping water, the worst thing that happens is
You don't have water.
You don't have water.
Yeah.
You know, it's
It's a bad thing.
but we'll find out about that very quickly.
Yeah.
The phones will be ringing. But yeah, once you overfeed chemicals, it's a
yeah.
big deal.
No, I'm glad to hear we're keeping people doing that.
Plant 2, Plant 4, nothing going on at Plant 4, but I can say that I did see samples yesterday, and the filters are still doing their job. We're getting non-detect on iron coming out of that plant. And then Plant 5, nothing going on there, right? Nothing going on at Plant 5.
Status quo.
Yep. Plant 6, which doesn't exist, but we are,
Hopefully.
we are doing a test boring. I think the contracts are signed.
Contract signed and
Executed?
executed, and PO is allocated.
Okay. So then we hope to have a contractor on site here in the next 30 days. It should take about 30 days, it's all said and done. And then at the next one of these meetings, we can report on what we found.
Okay.
What else am I missing?
Meter replacement.
Meter replacement,
Okay.
yeah, so as part of James was talking about it earlier at the annually that we're replacing a certain number of meters. So for the next round, we have a contract going out, I guess in the next month or so,
Yeah,
right?
we're
That we're
bid-
putting together, that we're gonna bid out for, is it the 1.5 inch, 2 inch and
There's
4 inch?
143 total meters of 1.5 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, and 4 inch. Yeah.
So we're gonna package that together, we'll get it out shortly, and then that way, next year, obviously we have the budget allocated for it already, and we'll just have the contractor in place to start doing those meter changeouts, and that'll be another year of changeouts that's done.
What guys on the meter changeouts are you getting? I know like when LIPA switched to the smart meters, there was some pushback from residents on,
Well, it's funny, some people like them because the older meters run slower
yeah.
and they're a little less accurate, and, they've gone from like a 1,200 cubic foot bill to, 3,000 or 6,000.
But you're also catching the $5,000 water bill before it happens.
Right, so it's hard to tell if the person has a leak because the meter could be spinning and they're not registering, so, these are easy way to catch that, so.
These are in pits, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I would
They're
say
not
90.
inside the home either, so that might help.
Well, the LIPA meters weren't either,
No.
but people just didn't
Like them.
like that.
Computers are very hard to trick when you have accuracy. The old rotating dial,
Yeah.
a lot of moving parts that can go wrong, slow down. Just to touch base on the meter replacement program, I know there's a lot of talk about the expense of this, and just to give you guys an idea, 2019, I got a quote to do this, and it was $2.5 million to do the overall project. 6,408 meters to be replaced. Company comes in, swatch out everything, radios, everything. So right now, I think we borrowed about 1.8 total, and we're probably just about 40% complete. So you can see how drastically the number, the amount of money it costs for these things, mainly because of the computer chips that are in these now. The demand for the meters are now, things are just getting expensive, as you can see across the board. So next year, I'm looking for $1 million to do, we have, well, after this change out, we'll have roughly about 6,000 meters, no, sorry, yes, 6,000 meters to do. That will be between 1 inch and 5/8 meters. So my
So
plan
we,
is
oh,
to
so
do,
we only did, we did 400 this year and the 6,000.
we did 300 the first time, 500 the second time, and then now we're gonna go for $1 million, so it's roughly 1.8. But keep in mind too. with
Oh,
the-
no, I didn't mean the dollars, I meant how many meters.
Oh, yeah, so, yeah, we did the first couple around, we did all our larger diameters from 6 inch to 8 inch. So those were, $8,000 to $10,000 a piece, and to pay a company to come in, so it's like $20,000 to $30,000 per meter, and there was roughly, I think, 10 of them that we had to replace in town. So then we also were changing out in-house as meters were going bad that we were finding, and we're changing out on our own. But now our next step is to do all the 1.5 and 2 inch, 3 inch, and 4 inch. So then all that would be left would be our smaller diameter, which would be the 5/8 and 1 inch. So next year, hopefully do half of that, 3,000 meters, and the following year do the 3,000, and then every meter will be changed out, and then we can talk about the reporting system coming back. But also just keep in mind in the beginning that we changed over our billing system. We went from Govern, which has been there probably 25 years, if not more, to Univeris. And that took a lot of the budget to get that implemented. We're up and running. We were up and running, I think, the middle of last month. We converted everything over to the billing. The new bills that went out this month, or end of September, were for the Univeris, the new billing system.
And that was software designed specifically for
Yeah,
water.
it's
For
geared towards
utilities.
utility. Govern was geared towards, your normal operations here, and the utility had to be built on the back end, and we had so many problems. I'm sure Paul in the IT department could tell you, that we were inundating them with issues that we always had to have fixed, so we wanted to get away from that, where it's something that will work seamless, more customer friendly. We're still getting things up and running. We're working on a lot of kinks and problems and issues. Eventually gonna have a credit card machine in the office, and a chat feature that will be available through the portal, where people can send us chats and stuff and questions instead of calling. We can send out notices online to direct to a customer. And then eventually, hopefully, we'll have our backflow program be run through this as well, where we can send out notices and backflow test results and so forth. So it's been a long, I guess, year and a half since we got this ball rolling with Univeris. A lot of back and forth between my office, the IT office, and Univeris team. A lot of site visits and stuff from both teams. The IT department here, Paul and the team have been fabulous at helping us out, spending a lot of time on calls and meetings, and coming to our office, and working a couple days there and working it out. But that is up and running, and just working on a couple kinks here and there, but we should have it all ironed out by the end of the year, so it's good.
Nice.
Good.
So that's basically, in a nutshell, the meter.
You wanna talk about complaints on Rand Pasture Road for low pressure this year?
We have no
Yeah.
zero complaints.
Oh, I was gonna say, what?
No,
No complaints.
That change out.
That big main replacement.
I was like, no, don't even tell me.
But I guess I'll roll into what we have planned for next year to start. Within Rand Pasture is Mineola Court, which, and again, this wasn't included in the 10-year master plan because, listen, when the plan was developed in 2018, 2019, problems will arise that weren't caught by somebody, and we, as being boots on the ground, notice these things, receive the customer complaints. This wasn't a problem 6-7 years ago, but now it is. So we have to take care of it regardless if it was in our plan or not. So Mineola Court wasn't in the plan, and the other one that piggybacks off that was that Rolling Woods?
Yeah, sure.
Rolling Woods.
Yep.
So Mineola Court is fed by an 1.5-inch copper pipe, and it runs, if you look on a map where Mineola Court's, it runs from Rand Pasture, goes all the way down Rand Pasture Road, and then jogs back out to Elder Avenue. And all those residences, roughly 30 homes down there, are fed off that 1.5-inch copper line. And that was implemented or put in when that development was put in. many, many moons ago. Transient homes, that's all it was down there. But the problem with copper that everybody's coming to realize is that copper, yes, it's a great product to put in the ground, but it also becomes very brittle over the time. And a lot of time electrolysis can happen where homes are grounded to the water pipe, and the electrical service has a bad ground or a bad neutral, and it backfeeds onto the copper, and it becomes brittle, and then leaks happen.
Oh,
So-
excuse me, I just want to hand this out. These are just for the next part. I just wanted the board to be able to
Oh,
see
sure,
the
yeah.
projects
Yeah.
for.
So
I should
this will
have
be,
to
I think,
send
underneath
that, just so you
the
have it for your
distribution upgrades, I believe, on that email. It's like 975,000.
Mhm.
So that is one of the projects is Mineola Court. And then Rolling Woods is a development off of Old Riverhead Road and Squiretown Road. It's on the corner there, and it's up on a higher elevation, one of the higher points in town. And it's fed by one water main, and there's the ability to feed it off of Squiretown Road and connect it into Old Riverhead Road, so it's loop system. And they've been over the last 3 or 4 years complaining about low water pressure at times, or low water volume, because the water has to go up the hill and it's a dead end, and being able to loop this into the other main will be able to bring more water volume into that area. So that was another issue that we had found and want to take care of. So that's both of the distribution upgrades. And being able to put this main down Mineola Court will also enable us to put a fire hydrant down there for better fire protection, because right now the closest one is out on Rampasture Road. It is technically maybe an HOA or a private road, and we went back and forth.
It's not a town-owned road.
It's not a town-owned road, but it was never deemed a private road. We went back and forth, I think, with Kathleen on this to try to find the paperwork that actually said it was. So there's a long history about this development, but the one lady who was, I guess, ahead of the HOA or whatever development is for this project to happen. She's all about fire protection, bringing more volume of water, and getting rid of, because we're probably there 8 times probably within the last 3 or 4 years, fixing pinhole leaks in the line. And the shutdowns aren't that well there anymore, so to get rid of that and tie everybody into a new water main will definitely help with the low water problems and the issues there. Same thing with Rolling Woods.
I'm sorry, what?
Rolling Woods,
Oh.
is A and B of that distribution
Yeah.
money. And those are the 2 projects that we want to get completed.
Yeah, and then as you said, the water meters is $1 million
Yep.
for 2026, and then in 2027, same thing, but then that'll be
Yeah,
enough
then
to
the
finish
software
project.
changeover is just a radio installation into the meter pits, which isn't very expensive. And we're talking with Census and Core Main on the difference between a drive-by and a report back to the office software is not a lot of money difference. So I'm gonna aim for that report back to the office, like I stated in the beginning, of how we can catch those spikes and those leaks and those people are using a lot of water. It's just gonna, again, free up for employees to do other things, because, we do scramble a lot to get things done, because 4 guys have to go out every month and read the cycle, which takes about up to 2 weeks, and then we have to do billing, and then when we do billing, we have to do leak checks, and then those guys have to go back out again. So it's like every month these guys are tied up. And then these same people going out installing the meters, the new installs, repairing leaks if there be, working on hydrants, maintaining the pump houses, maintaining the fields, cutting grass, painting fire hydrants. So there's a lot of background stuff that happens other than just pumping water with our employees. So being able to free them up and catch up on a lot of things and not put a lot of stress on them to get these things done and us to get done, that's where this meter replacement program is really gonna benefit us.
Mm-hmm.
I think also in there was the new well site. There's only a certain amount that's budgeted. That'll be the design. So once we get the.
well 6.
Well 6. Once we get the pump test done, we get all the test results back. We'll review them, see what the water quality is like, if the place will need treatment, if it's, whatever. It can be from the cleanest water to the dirtiest water. We're not gonna know until obviously this pump test is. And then we'll talk about it. and then we'll ask H2M to design the well field, then that will get done next year. Yeah, permitting.
And again, we're talking about a small pump house, if this goes to the point of a well, that's a small pump house, and
Yeah.
it's not like a giant infrastructure project like we have behind, next to the, like, we're not putting a tank there, we're not, you know what I mean?
No, it's maybe 1,500 square feet? maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
1,500 square feet.
I just know there were some community concerns about the infrastructure that was going in there and what would be visible and.
So let's start at 6,000 square feet, 3 stories. By the time we build it, 1,500 square feet.
No, we're looking for this, hopefully a 500 gallon a minute, if up to 1,000 gallon a minute well, but nothing bigger than, like John's saying, 1,500.
Kind of like what we have on the corner of, I think it's.
Jones Road.
Jones Road, yeah.
Exactly that size.
Okay.
That's, yeah.
Tucked into the woods with a gate, you won't even see it.
So it makes it even easier because you can tell people, listen, that's what it's pretty much.
Yeah, the only thing that's gonna be,
Maybe a generator in the outside.
the only thing that's gonna impact them the most is that we have to build a driveway. And then everything will be fenced in, so, once we build the driveway, we're not sure if we're coming off of Washington Heights, but we do own an easement over there. So we're only building a driveway on property we already have rights to.
Okay.
Or if we come from the other side, which is,
Well run.
Well run, it's,
Dead end cul-de-sac.
it's a dead-end cul-de-sac, but we'd have to build a driveway off of there. But town owns all the land, so we don't have to go.
Yeah.
We'll see what they want.
The only other thing would be if we ever put a treatment facility in the back. But again, it'd still be in that property, and if we would enclose it in, it wouldn't be seen. It's not gonna be right on the road, and hopefully it'll be back off the road and covered by woods, and, unless you actually walk back there and see it, it's not gonna be really on the road, like, here's a pump house in the middle of your property. But that's where we're at with the well site, so a lot of our talk, I guess, in February's meeting will be about where we're gonna go from there, after the pump test is done. Then we have tank 2, a rehab on tank 2 that we put in for, so, if you wanna talk about that.
I think it's just, it's in need of a facelift, prior to things getting really bad. So we're gonna attack it now before things start really corroding and, you have major metal work to do. So, this should be just a complete blast and, repaint of the tank, so. It should go smooth, there's not a lot of cell on that tank, right?
No, that one doesn't have as much as plant 1.
Yeah. Yeah, it should go pretty smooth. Just some coordination with the fire district we'll have to do, because they have an antenna up there.
But that $1.7 million in the budget now for 2026 isn't the whole cost, right? We're gonna need more the following year?
I think it was spread across 2 years.
Spread across 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years, yeah. The electrical upgrades at plant 1. So in our main building where we are, we have a generator that's there, that's probably older than me and John put together. No offense. But that generator also serves as the backup power to our SCADA system. And we've had some issues where that generator failed during a power failure, and we weren't able to run our SCADA system. It does run on a battery backup, but obviously the battery dies shortly thereafter. So then we have to manually go out and put the wells in service. We have to put them in hand, not auto. It's not gonna run automatically. It's just a lot of work. So instead of battling this back and forth, getting parts for this antiquated generator, I wanna upgrade that, put a new transfer switch in, generator and transfer switch just for that building. And it'll feed our whole office. This way our office is not down, the phones can still operate. Not knowing what the weather's ever gonna do, if we ever get a hurricane or something, power outages for long periods of time, we wanna be able to operate without any issues. So that's one of the projects for next year. We talked about the GAC changeout, which, just to piggyback off the GAC changeout, obviously, we all know that the town, Hampton Bays Water District, was awarded some money. We had initially, I think, just $400,000 awarded, then we just got another 1.1 million with the DuPont and 3M lawsuit. It's considered a partial payment. I think that initially what the situation was that they were gonna pay out a large sum to help recoup costs that water districts are already paid for, and then have stemming payments over time to help with maintaining the costs to run, PFAS treatment, putting in treatment. So that's where this money is really geared towards, is anything that has to do with the PFC. So GAC changeouts, Plant 3, putting the GAC there. If we ever do come to the need of putting GAC in another plant, using those monies allocated from the lawsuit to fund those projects.
So we couldn't just use the money, in your opinion, for the water meter program?
Right, no, I don't really, if I don't have to, I don't want to. Like I want to take, because then I'm using ratepayers' money to pay for something that they didn't technically do. Put the PFAS in the water. So I want to be able to take the money that's awarded to us and the ratepayers for something that we didn't do to help clean this up, and use that money for PFCs. If we needed to, technically,
Right. Yeah,
We could.
it's laudable that that's what you want to do, and that's
Right,
great, but it's
right.
not, there's no specific restriction on how the money can be spent.
No. Like if we needed it for something else in an emergency situation, or if something had to get done that we were short on, yes, we can take or borrow from it. But we really want to allocate that money for anything to do with any type of GAC or treatment for that. And then the fuel station upgrade, obviously, we know about the fuel station there. We gone back and forth a bunch of times of what we wanted to do with it, and we all came up with the conclusion that we want to keep it for redundancy and have a fueling station there for everybody to use it in need be.
Are we increasing the capacity at all?
Yes, I
Okay,
think
good.
we're going like 3,000 gallons of gas and 1,000 gallons of diesel, because that was the intention, to be able to have other entities be able to
Yep.
come in and use it.
And the 250,000
Yeah.
is an adequate amount?
Yeah, that's the price we got from Tom Hooton, I guess, who does a lot of this work, so that's what he gave us to do and put in, so.
Since the people are gonna be using this, you can get a grant for that. You should talk to Tatiana. They pay for the whole fuel system. Because since, other departments are gonna be using it, that's what qualifies it for.
I mean, she
We
look
can
at
ask
it.
Tom to look into that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't really know much on the gas end,
yeah.
so, but,
It's not, it's putting the system in, it's not buying the fuel.
no, I understand,
Yeah.
yeah, the construction cost, yeah, yeah.
Has to be in by, another month, the grant opens up, then you put it in, then they choose,
Who, and what?
the state.
What office?
Tatiana up on the third floor?
No, like, what state
No,
office
not
is?
off here.
Oh.
I should, because we've been talking about it. We're trying to buy a boat and a couple sweepers.
That pretty much sums, I think I didn't miss anything on that email
No,
regarding our.
No, that's it, you got it all,
budget.
yeah.
Right on time.
That pretty much sums up Hampton Bays Water District in our busy season.
Doing a lot.
Yes.
What is the percentage of new hookups? Where the
Varies, some years we go where there's 15 new customers, some years we get there's 35.
How
And
much?
sometime, like now I got a call from, I guess there's a new laundromat that's attempting to go into Hampton Bays.
Drinkers.
Yeah.
It's called Vinewood.
Heatherwood's expanding, Heatherwood Apartments, next to, they wanna expand, so it's not small residential stuff, it's a lot
That's
of
big.
big commercial stuff that, 6-inch, 4-inch meters going in, so it's a lot,
Especially if there's a couple new motels will come.
yeah. Affordable housing, if it gets bigger, there's a lot of property that, so. A lot of things that nobody really projected that would happen to Hampton
Do you
Bays.
have room for growth on what you have, or what would happen?
That's what the new
New
wells.
wells.
Yeah, that was projected within our capital plan, and eventually, and HOM has a lot of data on that too,
Yeah.
taking our increase in water consumption and the demand that we're meeting, we wanna be able to meet the demand with our largest well out. So, in order to do that with all this new expansion, we have to get this well, whether it's here or somewhere else. And in the long term, it would be nice to get another well field somewhere else too, but
Or
this is
backup.
this is our main focus.
You guys are doing a great job. I mean, there was all kinds of problems with pressure and iron and brown water, and I haven't really gotten any of those complaints anymore, so that speaks to what you're
Yeah,
doing.
I think every brown water complaint that we've had, besides a couple on Lincup because somebody hit a fire hydrant there, filling up a tanker truck that we didn't know about, has been a customer's hot water heater. And when we bring it up as, when's the last time you had a hot water heater flush? Never. How long have you had it? 25 years. Water and metal don't mix very well, and then the anodes that are inside those hot water heaters that are supposed to take that reaction away from the metal within the lining of the hot water heater are non-existent, and then they get that black, mungy, brown, white filament coming out. So, we do a lot of educating on hot water heater maintenance, yeah, and a lot of people just don't know. They think they set it, forget it. And then with these new on-demand hot water heaters, they're even more finicky, and they have a special way to flush them out, and it becomes a nightmare. There's a lot of times if we go in there, we flush it out for them, we help them out, but most of the time we tell them we got to call a plumber to have it looked at.
So this is a big layout of money on these meter change-outs. What's the life expectancy? Like, when do you anticipate we would have to do a full meter change-out again?
Not a full meter change out. The life expectancy is 20 years on these meters. Basically, that is just the battery that's inside of them.
Okay.
It's a fully enclosed unit, so it's not like you can take a piece out and have battery and put it in just because of waterproofing and stuff like that. So it'll be intermittent change outs that will have to happen. The accuracy of these meters are shown through data that their accuracy never depletes. It's just the battery that's inside them. With the older meters, the turbine meters, they have moving parts, and obviously there's a lot that can go on. Inside these meters, there's nothing. It's just basically a tube all the way across, and it just creates the electricity of the water moving through the meter that actually reads it.
Huh.
So this will be the biggest bulk of money we have to spend on meters, besides our everyday
Yeah.
purchasing, putting in, stuff like that.
But now when you're replacing meters, you're replacing them with these meters.
Yes. Yeah.
Eventually, when all the meters are replaced, again, the most residential meters, they're gonna be in there for 20, 25 years. But you wanna go back and get your large users and your bigger meters, and you'll wanna change them more often because it'll pay it back quicker. And those are the guys that you don't wanna be inaccurate on. You don't wanna read low on the guy using the most top 10 users. You want to make sure that you're capturing every gallon, so, yeah.
Yeah, so that's roughly 15 large diameter meters. The bigger ones, the 6 to 8 inch ones that we.
What kind of, is that like school facilities, stuff like that?
Stop shop, not Stop sorry, Wild by Nature, that whole complex is one. Heatherwoods.
Okay. So complexes, not just like.
The doctor buildings on Flanders Road,
There's a motel down by.
CPI, it's not like a residential one-story house.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
the big complexes that have multiple units within it.
Hotels.
Hotel, yeah.
Hotel.
So once you get all these put in, or the new meters put in, are you going to set up a program where you put money aside to replace them in 20 years?
Well, we have, every year, we have money allocated for meters within our general budget, purchasing meters. So that would probably come within our, once this capital plan is completed, we're gonna have to obviously develop a new one, projection of what's to come. And that could probably be included.
That's what would be a smart thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, every 10 years, it's at least looked at, what are we looking to do after this is done? Right now, once we complete this, we're just looking at probably just, water main replacement, but who knows? The EPA might come down with another chemical that they haven't tested for, testing that we have to filter, so. These things can change to drastically overnight, or they can just stay status quo, but the way the testing technology has come, the limits that these companies can test to, are developing quick, and, who knows what the EPA is gonna bring, so, but that's when we'll develop a master plan and put it in place and present it and go from there.
Okay. What else? Something else?
I was just thinking, UCMR 6 is coming too, and that'll be a whole nother, UCMR 6 is just the EPA having water suppliers across the country test for what is determined emerging contaminants. That's how we found our PFOS and our PFOA and our 1,4-dioxane. I don't think it's come out yet. I think it's next
No,
year.
it's next year, yeah.
Next year, so
The
we'll have-
UCMR5 was the PFAS.
Yeah. but we're-
UCMR5 is 29 different perfluorinated compounds. UCMR6,
200 something probably.
we can only do 30.
Well, no, yeah, but I'm saying they have
Compounds.
200 something perfluorinated compounds to pick from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can only do 30 compounds. I've heard microplastics might be in it. I've heard more perfluorinateds might be in it. I've heard metals could be in it. There's always the chlorate, manganese stuff.
So hold on to that money.
I don't think microplastics will affect us too much, so. So,
Let's not talk about it.
yeah.
Until it comes out.
That's a nationwide test they're gonna be doing?
Yeah, it's a nationwide test that's over, it's every water supplier over a certain population has to do it, and I think that
10.
population's like
10,000?
5 or 10,000. So, and then they take a select number of below the population limit and make them do it too. Always keeps you on your toes.
So every water provider on Long Island is gonna have to do it, at a minimum.
Pretty much, some of the there are smaller systems on Long Island that can get away with it, some of the shelter island systems, some of the mobile home park
okay.
systems that are considered community water suppliers that have to abide.
So like 99% of water suppliers on Long Island.
Yeah. And then they'll use that data to essentially generate
New standards.
regulations if they determining,
Yeah, I was gonna
once they
say.
determine how it affects
Lower the,
PFAS.
Yeah, that's already coming down the pike. But again, took, what, 3 years since the government came out, and then the state adopted it, and now the local health department's gonna adopt it, so. Yes, it's supposed to be 4, but they're giving you time to implement.
John, are we testing the resins?
Yes.
That's it.
We're gonna
That's
do,
at Plant 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do a pilot to see we've tested resins in other places,
Yeah.
and we find that,
They're,
yeah.
yeah,
I'll let you do
it's
this.
fine. They do great, when you compare it for long chains, it's just more cost effective right now to use the carbon, especially with the ability to reactivate the carbon and that differential in cost. The benefit that you get with the resins with the longer chain perfluorinateds is you can use a smaller footprint, so we could use smaller vessels if we needed to. Based on what we see in terms of the regulations and now and in the future, some of those shorter chains that are going to be regulated,
Won't be
that's
covered.
where the resin's going to be a little bit more of a option that we're going to need to look at. The vessels that the vessels that are at Plant 1 and the vessels that we're putting in at Plant 5 Plant 3, sorry, are designed to be able to handle both carbon and resin.
Is there a possibility that sometime in the future we're gonna have to do both?
Potentially.
Potentially a
So you
mixed
can
system.
utilize the way the system's designed. Like you split the beds, have carbon in one bed, resin in the other one. It has the ability to do basically different flows, different medias if we need to. When we get to that point where what's regulated isn't being effectively removed by carbon, then that's where you're going to the resin. Or if we get to or if there's a future design where we need to limit how big the vessels can be, that's where you would go with that. But yeah, we have a pilot report that we're putting together right now for Plant 3 that we're going to take a look at the resins to see if it's viable potentially for Plant 1 because of the high levels that we have over there as well.
Well, we'll just talk to Dorothy. We have something on the agenda today to accept the litigation funds. And I just went back to that. And, but not where it's going to go. But we'll talk to her, and I'm sure you will too, about where, because she had mentioned about the meter, but I agree with you that we should, hold it since there's a lot coming down. So I don't know where she would put it or what.
There's a GL that we created for the first check that we received, so we'll just go in that same
Oh,
GL.
okay, all right, good. Okay, well, that's, brings us to the public portion. Let's see if anybody's on Zoom, Kevin, for public portion.
No one's on Zoom.
Nobody is on Zoom. That's good, no questions. All right, and I move to close public portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
So anything else, guys? Thank you for coming in and for the very comprehensive updates.
Got it.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys.
And right on
Have a
time.
good day.
All right, you too.
We're engineers. There's clockwork.
All right, so I'll move to close the Hampton Bays Water District Commissioners meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.